This is the Justice League film fans deserve. And the one they need right now. Once again, DC did it right. The Justice League film featuring Batfleck, the former Game of Thrones guy, Gal Gadot, the creepy kid from not Harry Potter, from Fantastic Beasts, and that guy as Cyborg. It was pretty good. I will admit, it wasn't as good as Wonder Woman, but it was far superior to Suicide Squad, Bat vs. Soup, and Man of Steel. Definitely superior to those films. The cast, once again, did great. Batfleck was a little more lighthearted, a little less crazy Steve than he was in Bat vs. Soups. Once again, Gal Gadot knocks it out of the park as Wonder Woman. This time, she feels more like a war vet suffering from PTSD, but one who's kind of working through it. The guy playing Flash, he did really well. Basically, he was among quote-unquote gods, and he was just in awe. Despite having superpowers, he was a fanboy. He was a fellow nerd. He was very relatable. In fact, he felt like he was on the spectrum, like I am. So definitely relatable to me. Jason Momoa as Aquaman kinda looks like he should be more like that Moana character, Maui, in live form. Despite the fact that he hangs out in a cold climate in the movie. And while he wasn't quite the idiot savant that The Brave and the Bold had, he wasn't the stoic, dark, brooding character that the Justice League Unlimited cartoon portrayed. Also, he had both his hands. And a 5-pointed trident. What would you even call that? A quintet? Anyway. He sort of had a chip on his shoulder at first. I'm not sure, but I don't think he was married to the Queen of Atlantis. I forget her name. The one played by Blake Lively. But they did have a rapport. Maybe this was before their marriage. Who knows? But when he got to kicking butt, he was very enthusiastic, and I could just tell Jason Momoa reveled in being Aquaman. Clearly, he's in it for the long haul. The guy playing Cyborg, he's the only mystery to me. I don't know what he's done in the past, but he played Cyborg as dark, brooding, possibly suffering from psychological trauma, because this was a recent transformation for him. Before recently, he was a pile of parts. And then he wasn't. So he kind of had a lot of mental walls that had to come down before he could be a proper member of the team. But slowly and surely, he started developing into the proto-form of the cyborg we know from Teen Titans. And spoiler alert, he did say booyah at least once. Although, honestly, it felt a little bit forced. But it was okay. As for the villain, Steppenwolf. Lame! He was all brute force and pontification. I didn't feel anything for him. He was totally CG, and I could have sworn he was voiced by Max von Sydow, but he wasn't. And while it was cool to see him fight a bunch of characters, I just needed a little more depth from his overall performance. The Terra drones or Terra demons, or those bug things that are supposedly the minions of Darkseid. Those were okay. Up close, they looked really creepy and vampire-like. And they had retractable wings, and they had plenty of detail, both from a distance and up close. They felt like they were there. It looked good. Visually, by the way, Steppenwolf looked okay. His performance was just meh. As for the visuals of everything else, everything looked great. I saw lots of CG, but also lots of practical sets. It felt like I was looking at a comic book, but it also looked semi-live action. It worked for me. It wasn't quite as psychedelic as Guardians of the Galaxy, but it looked like a good marriage of real life and comic books. The overall story was kind of slow-ish at first. Basically, it was a slow burn to build up the team and build the world of Justice League. But when everything came to a head, the action was fast, but it was easy to follow. It was definitely entertaining. It set up a few things for the future, but it didn't bog things down. Overall, I would say Justice League continues the upswing of the DC movie film, or the DC live films, from bad to good, that started with Wonder Woman. Let's hope they continue this trend. And let's hope when things get unlimited, they don't go overboard.